Welcome to the AFR Saints channel, where we provide you daily content on your favorite team, the New Orleans Saints. Do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to leave your comments below and smash that like button. Who dat? The Saints have been dealt another blow, reportedly. Last week, we discussed David Onyemata, his 6-game suspension for violating the NFL's policy on performance-enhancing substances, and how the Saints are now going to be without their most dominant interior defensive lineman for the first 6 games of the season, and how they address that. Well, now we know Saints are also going to have, likely, a massive hole at wide receiver to start the season as well. Michael Thomas reportedly underwent ankle surgery in June and could miss the start of the season. There are some reports, or at least one report, that he could miss up to 5 weeks to start the season. There is no report as to why Thomas underwent surgery so late in the offseason. But, of course, ankle injury last year, week 1, caused Thomas to miss the majority of the season. And this has clearly ailed him throughout the offseason. He missed 9 games last year over 2 different stints on injured reserve. This comes at a time where we already know the Saints did not bring back Emmanuel Sanders. Jared Cook is not back, although I maintain that's a good thing because I'm excited about Adam Troutman. One of the reasons that I have been particularly optimistic about this Saints team, despite a lot of the turnover, has been that I'm assuming Jameis Winston is the starter, and I've talked about him plenty. If you're unclear where I stand on this, then you're probably new to the show. Just know that I think there's a lot of reasons that this could work, as I've stated for like literally a year and a half now. But a big part of the reason why I was optimistic about this offense right now is Jameis's transition into the starting role is going to be made easier by the fact that he's got Michael Thomas and Alvin Kamara, 2 of the best offensive players in the entire NFL, to hand the ball off to and throw the ball to, respectively. Well, if you take Michael Thomas out of the mix, that's fundamentally altering what you are offensively. Keep in mind, for the 9 games that Thomas missed last year, the leading receiver in those games was either Alvin Kamara, a running back, or Emmanuel Sanders, who's no longer on your team. With Michael Thomas last year, in 7 games, the Saints were 6-1 with Michael Thomas. The only loss was the loss in Philly, where Taysom Hill went Taysom Hill, and why Taysom Hill isn't going to be a quarterback ever in the NFL. So now if you remove Michael Thomas for a handful of games to start the season, that absolutely changes my opinion of this offense, because there is no other proven receiver right now. My one gigantic question here, like one singular gigantic question: how long have the Saints known this? Like, how long have the Saints known that Thomas was going to miss time? Because if they always knew that this was a likelihood, then my hope is they have prepared for this likelihood. That they've got some veteran in the queue that they know is going to step in for those 5 weeks and be the guy. Now, you could try to sell me on Traquan. You could try to sell me on Marquez Callaway and Deontay Harris, maybe a little Jordan Humphrey taking the leap. Like, I like all those guys. And I think they all could have a role in Sean Payton's offense, because he has been, if nothing else in his career, magnificent at finding pass catchers that nobody else either wanted, thought of, saw it, and turning them into really good players. Look at Deontay Harris. Deontay Harris is a diminutive guy, obviously a really good return specialist, but when you tried to turn him into a receiver last year in the postseason against the Bears, he caught all 7 targets and it was like, who is this guy? I mean, you could run down the list of the Tommy Lee Lewises, of the world. Marcus Colston becomes the best receiver in the history of the organization as a 7th-round pick as a tight end. You get it. I like Sean Payton's ability to turn guys into really competent receivers. But that was also with Drew Brees. And now you're transitioning with a new quarterback, and you don't have a number one. And even in 2006, when Colston was a rookie, you still had a veteran in Joe Horn at the end of his career, but he was still a veteran receiver. And you had Devery Henderson. You had other options as Colston emerged. Who are those options now? It's probably likely that a lot of people are going to say, well, look at what's going on with Davante Adams right now in Green Bay. He's unhappy. Doesn't look like they're going to extend him. Could you potentially trade for Davante Adams? Maybe, but the gigantic problem there is he wants a contract extension. You just gave Mike Thomas a 9-figure deal. You can't have 2 receivers on your roster with that kind of deal. And you're at a point now, like, could you afford it for a year? Sure, you could make it work however you want to make it work. And you have enough cap space right now to afford his number or work a deal to make it work. But do you sacrifice a long-term asset like draft picks for the short-term benefit maybe of 1 year with Davante Adams? I don't think so. And I don't think you're prepared to give him a long-term deal because you just signed Ramczyk. You're going to have to pay Marcus Williams a long-term deal. Next year, you got to decide what you're going to do with Armstead. I mean, you get it. I mean, I don't need to spell this out. We've talked about it all offseason. I don't think financially it makes sense to pay Davante Adams, so I don't know how you do that. And then if you look at the current available free agents around the NFL at receiver, I mean, is Golden Tate an option? I mean, do you want to Tavon Austin? I mean, I'm looking at guys here who have had D.D. Westbrook, who have had some NFL success in their careers, but man, there's just not a lot of meat on the bone when you look at this current wide receiver free agent class of the players that are still available. So, I've said all along that I think this Saints team is a playoff team. I don't think they win the division. I think they're more like a 10-7 type team, but I think they make the playoffs. But that was under the assumption that Mike Thomas was going to be healthy and David Onyemata was going to be there and that you were going to supplement defensively in veteran free agency, which I still think they're going to do. But, man, every week it seems like there's another hit on this team. And we still don't know what the punishment's going to be for Marshawn Lattimore. I mean, you're probably saying, all right, Matt, well, give me a solution at receiver. I don't have a solution for you at receiver. I don't. If Mike Thomas isn't there, your $100 million all-pro NFL offensive player of the year wide receiver Mike Thomas, if he's not there, I don't know. I don't think you don't have a great option. Because I don't think you can afford Davante Adams if the Packers even want to trade him. And there aren't any great options in veteran free agency right now. So really, you look at your roster and you go, hey, Marquez Callaway, you ready to be a dude? Hey, Traquan, it's time. And do I have confidence they'll do it? No, I don't. You hope Alvin Kamara stays healthy. You throw him the ball a ton. And you figure it out with the other guys in the meantime. But the great benefit the Saints have had in recent years is that their defense has been elite. And you've got holes at every level of your defense now because of Onyemata's suspension, of what's likely going to be a suspension for Marshawn Lattimore. You still need a backer to put next to Demario Davis. It's likely going to be Quan Alexander, but how good is Quan going to be coming off the Achilles injury? You see what I mean? Like, the Mike Thomas thing, because, in my opinion, I was assuming that a healthy Michael Thomas and Alvin Kamara elevate the offense with Jameis so dramatically that they were going to be able to compensate while the defense figured some stuff out with some new guys. Now you have a ton of questions. Like, can Peyton Turner play inside and play effectively as a rookie? Is Marcus Davenport or Carl Granderson ready to absolutely blast off on the edge? If you re-sign Quan, how healthy is he? Who's the cornerback opposite Marshawn Lattimore? Who's available? You got to go get somebody in veteran free agency. Like, there's a ton of questions. I think some of them are going to be answered to the affirmative. That you're going to hit him. Maybe Quan's off. Maybe he's healthy. He's awesome. Maybe Peyton Turner kicks inside as a nose tackle and is a stud as a rookie. Maybe not. But while you figured all that out, the certainty, the thing you knew was, dude, just throw it to 13, man. Hand it to 41. Throw a little bubble screen to Kamara. Put someone, have Teron Armstead pulling out there. Get on his horse in front of somebody and let Kamara do what he does. All of a sudden now, the more you remove from those certainties, the more questions pop up and the more doubt there is as you start this season. I mean, if there is one thing that you could say, man, what could work in New Orleans' favor, week 1 you got Green Bay, and I don't think Green Bay fans can say with certainty that they feel like Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams will be there playing against New Orleans. And if they're not in the Dome, makes it a lot easier to stomach. You got some tough road games. You're in Carolina, you're in New England, you're home against the Giants, you're at Washington. And look, football team was a playoff team last year. I don't like it at all. I am the guy that is the training camp nerd. I'm the guy that loves watching preseason games to see who the 53rd guy on the roster is going to be, watching those young guys, how they can develop. Like, there's a big reason last year why I told you I'll look out for Marquez Callaway. I thought he was going to be a stud. Ended up making the team and ended up making an impact. This is an offseason unlike any that we've seen under Sean Payton, because it's obviously the first without Drew Brees, and then you look at all of the turnover, all of the roster turnover, and now the things you thought were certainties become question marks. You got a lot of questions you got to answer, and you only got 3 preseason games to answer them. Saints are going to open up the preseason August the 14th in Baltimore. See who's there and what it looks like. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.